Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. I'm really excited for this episode because it's going to be a continuation in our How to Master Seed Starting series. It's a little mini series that we put together here on the channel, and it's talking about this kit that we curated that I hope you all will check out and get so you can grow along with us. And our mission is to ultimately make you feel confident that you can go out, start your own seeds, and not have to wade through the endless sea of unknowns and question marks about seed starting, because there's so many options out there. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about the perfect seed starting mix. The seed starting mix that I want you all to be using is a burpee, eco-friendly seed starting mix. I have links to it in the description box below, just like I do with the grow light that we already talked about, which, by the way, if you've not yet seen that video, recommend going checking that out as well, because remember, this whole kit is broken down into different videos that allow you for kind of bite-sized pieces of information. They're going to be put together as a whole to help you master seed starting. So just this video alone won't help you master it. It'll help you master a portion of it, but I really want you guys to check out the whole series so that you feel confident from start to finish about everything that you're doing. So when it comes to seed starting mix, this is the best one that I found, the best bang for the buck. I got this in our big box store for right around $4 for this big bag. That's a terrific deal, to be honest. And I was really surprised to see that because it's organic. All right, so I just dumped out the seed starting mix here, and I want to talk about what makes it one of the best seed starting mixes that I've come across that's not a DIY version, because I could make this same exact mix for pennies on the dollar, only there's a lot of question marks, and that's why I'd rather you guys not do a DIY version and just spend a little bit more and have something that's just go-to, because this is going to give you amazing success, and I can guarantee that because of what I'm going to talk about. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the characteristics of this soil here. What makes it an incredible seed starting mix? Well, first off, the porosity. It is very, very porous, and how you can tell it's porous is based on how sponge-like it is. Take a clump in your hand, squeeze it. If it feels like a sponge, that means it's going to act like a sponge. It means it's going to hold on to moisture, it's going to hold on to nutrients, and it's also going to have really good aeration. Aeration is key for the roots because the roots do need oxygen. If you don't give the roots oxygen, they're going to choke and die. And that's one of the biggest things with a seed starting mix. If it's the wrong seed starting mix and it compresses, or if you just try to use something like topsoil, there's not enough of the organic matter, which acts like a sponge in your soil, that's going to compress down, and your roots are going to choke. So this has, like I said, good porosity. Another thing that it has is really good texture. The texture is caused from the tiny little bits of perlite that you see. Those are all those little white dots. People think those are styrofoam. It's not. It's called perlite. And perlite is an expanded volcanic rock. And perlite is going to give you the sponginess, because if you didn't have the perlite and you just had all the sifted coconut coir and Spagna peat moss, that would be okay, but over time it begins to clump and it begins to compress, and that compression is what we talked about, is what you don't want. So the perlite actually prevents that. It kind of breaks up those clumps as they form so that it always stays loose. The next thing that I want to talk about that makes a really great seed starting mix is what makes up the medium. A medium is anything that you're growing in. And so this medium is what they chose for their growing medium is about 75% coconut coir, which is a renewable resource. It's a renewable organic matter source, and it's actually comes from the coconut industry. And so if you've ever drank coconut water or seen coconut water, well, this is the byproduct of that. And they just take a coconut husk and grind it down. So that's about 75% of the mix. That's a very pH neutral growing medium. That's a great thing to have in here. Another thing that makes it really great is Spagna peat moss. What the Spagna peat moss offers is, yes, the organic matter that the coconut husk fiber offers, but it offers a tiny bit of acidity. You do not want a pH that is very acidic, only slightly acidic. And that's what the Spagna peat moss provides, is that very slight acidity that helps the nutrient uptake with the plants. And the final thing that makes a seed starting mix really great is the fact that it has good drainage. I can't tell you how often I've seen people post pictures of their seeds and they've been completely drowned with water. You can just tell that the top is too wet based on the fact that sometimes there's algae growing, there's green algae. I'll post a picture over there of green algae growing on top of soil. If you see that, it means you have way too much moisture in your soil. having a really well-draining mix, which is in part due to the perlite added, as well as the aeration that's in here, the porosity, that helps with drainage as well. You want a mix that is going to drain freely, and that way it's hard to overwater. You can overwater if you water too frequently, which we'll get into watering and your proper schedule. But with this, it makes it really hard to overwater. You actually have to try to overwater your plants, and that's what I think is nice about a mix like this, is if you do overwater, it's going to drain right through the bottom. And if you have a container, which we'll also talk about, the right type of container, it will allow the water to drain freely through. And when you see that, you say, oh shoot, I gotta stop watering. My mix is completely saturated. It's time for it to dry out, time for the plants to take a little break from the water. And that will definitely aid in that, is having really good drainage. So there you go, there is Seed Starting Mix 101. I hope it answered all the questions that you do have about what makes a good seed starting mix. And I really do hope that you go out and grab this. Again, I'll have links to everything in this kit in the description box below to make it really easy for you all to just go to it and get it so you can get growing big. And so I hope you are on your way. We're now 2 episodes in, and I'm really excited about the 3rd episode, because the 3rd episode is going to be talking about seed starting trays. We're going to be talking about what makes a good seed starting tray, and we're also going to talk about the controversial paper versus plastic. So no, you're not at a grocery store checkout, you're actually starting seeds. And yes, the question of paper versus plastic does apply, and you'll be shocked at my answer. So I recommend checking out episode number 3, which is coming up tomorrow. And we're going to talk about that in that episode and go into depth about why you want to use this specific seed starting tray, because it will give you results that are far better than the other options. So as always, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. This is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home, and we'll catch y'all later. See ya.